Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Snap Judgments. Today it's Friday, February 13th. I am your host, Randy. Look, there was a couple things that I wanted to touch on before I get started. Today we're going to do a couple mock draft scenarios, and we're going to run through the first four rounds a couple different times, a couple different ways with the Patriots, just to try to kind of set up our line of thinking for free agency, which is coming up here. Um, as you can see, I've got the off-season dates posted here, and I thought I'd point out, the February 17th, this is the first important off-season date in the NFL offseason. This is the first day to designate franchise or transition players. I don't see us having a lot of activity that day. We just don't have anybody that we need to franchise. Um, Then February 23rd through March 2nd, we have the NFL Scouting Combine. That starts in just 10 days. So not this Monday, but next Monday, we'll start seeing those guys go out there. The first couple days are generally like medical screenings, which is really what the entire point of the combine is. That's how it started. That's why it's in Indianapolis. It's kind of central to the country. Um, People it was difficult in the pre-draft process setting all these doctors and medical evaluators and so forth all over the country to all these different schools, so they thought, hey, we'll set something up so they can all come to one place. And then from there, a lot of other pre-draft evaluation stuff got kind of added on in the all the various athletic testing events that they do there. It's headlined by the 40, but they do a lot of other stuff that's a lot more important to evaluators and in the NFL, to draft guys, et cetera, than the 40-yard dash. But anyway, that starts in 10 days. And then March 3rd that's the finish. That's the deadline for the franchise tag. March 9th through 11th, the free agency tampering period is what we call it. But that's the kind of the pre-negotiation period starts. And then March 11th, free agency officially opens up. So we've got free agency to be thinking about in the future. Um, Now, just to run down a couple announcements before we start up. Tonight, I will be hosting a 3-round mock draft with a guy named Matt Shabbat. I'm not sure. I'm going to clear that up when I get on there tonight, figure out exactly how to pronounce the guy's name. But anyway, we'll be hosting a 3-round mock draft together tonight on Draft Professors. I've linked that in the description to this video. It's going to start at 7 p.m., probably run through about 9:30, and it's, again, a 3-round mock draft. The Patriots will be making 3 picks in that draft. I will probably be making them for the Patriots, and I'll be reviewing every pick as they come in. If you want to get in on that, I'm going to try to stream it on this channel. But if I can't, again, I have linked that channel below in the description of this video. Secondly, tomorrow at noon, I'll be on another episode of Mrs. R Relevant on Draft Professors. And in this one, we're going to be talking specifically about picks 20 through 28 in the upcoming NFL draft. So those picks are, I wrote them down and now they're not here. That's the Dallas Cowboys at 20, the Pittsburgh Steelers at 21, the LA Chargers at 22, the Philadelphia Eagles at 23, the Cleveland Browns, that's via the Jacksonville trade, and Dallas got their 20th pick from Green Bay, by the way. The Cleveland Browns pick at 24, the Chicago Bears at 25, the Buffalo Bills at 26, the San Francisco 49ers at 27, and the Houston Texans at 28. So if any of those teams are your favorite team, or perhaps even just a team that you're interested in hearing more about their draft scenarios, I'd encourage you to tune in. That's, again, tomorrow at noon. That should last for about 60 minutes. And again, if you can't make it there live, it's always there available on the channel afterwards, much like everything here. I also wanted to touch briefly on the Super Bowl. This is probably the last time that we'll really get into it, but I wanted to talk about it because of the release of the Mic'd Up episode by the NFL. I thought there were a couple interesting things on there that kind of jumped out to me, and I just wanted to talk about them real briefly. So, the first thing that jumped out to me was Mike Vrabel's relationship with Drake May. I mean, it's almost parental. He clearly really cares about Drake. This is going to be a great thing for years to come for the team. I think that kind of what they're building here, you could really just see it there on the sidelines in the way he interacts with him, the way he talks with him. Um, the patience level that he shows and the level of caring that you could just see it there. So that kind of jumped out to me first. Secondly, Julian Love's interception on Drake May. I mean, he almost called it. You could see him go over and he was talking to his teammates about tells that Drake May has. Basically, how he looks first and hesitates because he wants to confirm what he's seeing. He doesn't just throw blindly and quickly at what he knows to be open. And Julian Love was contrasting Drake May with Matt Stafford, and he himself said on the sidelines something like, like typical young QB stuff or whatever. Um, and that's exactly what it is. Okay. May needs to learn to trust the system. He needs to learn to trust his eyes and his reads and his receivers. And the things that Love talked about and the things he took advantage of are things that can only really be fixed by reps and experience. That's why you could see him contrasting someone like Matthew Stafford, who's been in the league nearly 2 decades, with somebody who's like Drake May, who's only been alive for a little bit more than 2 decades. Um, so there's ultimately what I'm trying to say, I guess, is there's nothing to worry about with May for anybody who was. Okay. I know I've seen a lot of Patriots fans and people in comments throughout the internet, uh, expressing some level of concern about him. And I just don't think there's any reason to have any real concern about him right at this point in time. Um, Next, the Christian Barmore Milton Williams interaction on the sidelines late in the fourth quarter got some attention from Patriots fans. Barmore seemed to be frustrated, saying it wasn't us, which many fans interpreted to mean kind of like this loss isn't our fault when he was talking to Milton Williams. And Milton Williams told him something like, move on. If you've been following me, I was probably the first person to talk about Barmore's fit on this team and how I don't think it's right. I really think that Mike Vrabel tries to get out of the Christian Barmore business this spring or summer. There are a few minor financial implications and minor, a few $1 million here. Um, but I think it's almost an addition by subtraction situation. And this is a pretty deep defensive tackle class in the draft. If you can pick up a third round pick for Barmore, and even if you have to throw in one of those 4 6th round picks that we have to make that happen, then that's a deal that I would happily jump on with players like Lee Hunter out of Texas Tech, Banks from Florida, and Caden McDaniels of Ohio State, potentially on the board at the end of the first round. You could easily replace him on the defensive line in the draft, then use that day 2 pick they acquire to target, the interior of the offensive line, maybe in the edge position or the linebacker group. Those are all pretty deep positions in this draft class and could be targeted on day 2. You could definitely find yourself a contributor there. Um, Now, again, we're talking about the off-season schedule, posted right up there. Again, free agency starts March 11th. The draft happens April 23rd. So obviously free agency starts, it's about 6 weeks between free agency and the draft. A lot of questions about the roster are going to be answered prior to the kickoff of the draft. But I find that sometimes it helps to kind of run these mock draft scenarios and get an idea of what needs you might be able to address at each position in the draft. Then you can kind of figure out from there where you want to target in free agency, right? So I thought that it would be helpful if we ran through a couple of those scenarios now. So let me set this up real quick so I can share my screen out. And we've got ads. Good times. Where is this? Is it up? No. All right. Let me just get that up on the stage here. Oh, this is incredibly delayed. All right, hold on. This is having some issues. All right, this is not great television, I'm sure. What the All right, hold on. I gotta stop sharing that for a second because this has really mucked things up. Okay. We're gonna try this on a different site. That site, NFL Mock Draft Database, has a lot of ads, and it really tends to slow things down. This site, Draft Professors, is a little less. It's a little bit of a smaller operation, I think. So the actual engine of the mock draft can run a little differently, run a little slower at times, but it has a very interesting way that it builds the draft board in as far as it reacts to the picks that you make. Um, oh, come on. I'm trying to load this up right now, and this is not cooperating with me. Let's see. This might be something that we have to push until another time. My internet is just not cooperating. Damn it. Come on. This is really ridiculous. The Draft Professor one hasn't loaded yet either. All right, let's share this tab out. This is the worst time. All right. Yeah, we might have to end up cutting this until a day that I have the internet. Let's see. Nothing is working on this. You got to be kidding me. All right, guys. Well, I don't even know if you can hear me right now. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this mock draft until I have the internet to myself here at home. This is not working even kind of. I can't pull up anything. All right. Awesome. All right, let's see if I can do something else here. It's really frustrating. All right, this is my entire plan today, and this is not possible now. All right, guys. Yeah, we're gonna have to do this another day. Sorry. Look, tune into the 3 round mock draft tonight. I'll see you there, and I'll be on again tomorrow at noon. Monday morning we'll be back at 9, and hopefully we'll be able to do some stuff then. All right. We'll be able to, what would we'll be doing is talking about free agency then. We won't be doing any of the sharing of the tabs and live mock drafting. That's not working out right now. I will. All right. Well, I'll see you tonight. Please tune into that. Tune in tomorrow if you're around. And otherwise, I'll be back on this channel Monday at 9. Have a great weekend, guys.